Hey guys, it's Mrs. Bothers, and in this video we are going to look at how to solve and graph two-step inequalities.
Get to Del Taco. They got a new thing called free shavacadoo. Free shavacadoo.
Okay, so two-step inequalities. We're going to take a look at MSG page 11. Okay, so on page 11, I have given you some space on the right side to show all your steps, and then make sure, of course, that you graph it over here on the left. So we'll look at, again, how to solve it and then also how to graph. Remember, you're going to solve this basically the same way that you would solve an equation. So we've done one-step inequalities, and those were solved the same way as a one-step equation. Well, guess what? Two-step inequalities are going to be saying solve the same as a two-step equation. Okay, so those steps that we've already learned, we're just kind of putting multiple things together again. So it's not necessarily something brand new, it's just taking things that we've already learned and putting those together. So looking at problem number 1, we're solving for the solution set. We're solving for x. Okay, and actually before I even look at that, let me step back for a sec and let's just take a look at which inequalities we're going to have to reverse the symbol for. And remember, that's only if we multiply or divide both sides by a negative. Okay, another way to look at it is that the negative has to start on the same side as the variable in either multiplication or division. So if you look at the first one, that one is not one where we're going to reverse the symbol. Okay. The second one, however, we will reverse the symbol because we can see right here, okay, we're going to end up dividing both sides by a negative. All right, number 3 is also one where we will have to reverse the symbol because right here, we're dividing by -2, so we'll have to multiply both sides by a -2. Number 4 is not going to be flipped. Number 5, the symbol will be flipped or reversed because we're going to have to divide both sides by this -9 here. Okay, and number 6 is not going to have to be reversed. So the only ones that have a symbol that will have to be flipped or reversed are 2, 3, and 5. Okay, all right, so let's take a look at, again, how to solve it. And again, you approach it just like you would a two-step equation. So for number 1, what I'm going to do to solve for x is I'm going to first get rid of what is farthest from that x. And in this case, it's the 3. That's being subtracted, so we'll add 3 to both sides of the inequality. That leaves me with 10x is less than, and over here I have 40. All right, my next step is to divide both sides by 10, and that leaves me with x is less than, and that's 4. Okay, to solve, or sorry, not solve, but to check our answer, choose any value that would be true here, and a value that's less than 4. I like to pick, again, easy numbers, but anything like 0, 1, 2, 3, those are all easy to deal with. Let's say I use 0. So if I use 0, 10 times 0, okay, minus 3 is less than 37. If I work this out, that's 0 minus 3. 0 minus 3 would be -3. And -3 is less than 37. Okay, so here's my inequality. When I graph that, if x is less than 4, when I graph it over here, and sorry, it's hard to see, but the 0 is right smack in the middle. I'm going to come over here to +4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's an open circle on 4. And since x is less, I shade to the left. Okay. All right, problem number 2. All right, so again, I get rid of what is farthest from the variable. In this case, that's 18. So I'm going to subtract 18 from both sides of the inequality. Okay, that gives me -5x is greater than or equal to, and 3 minus 18 is the same as 3 plus -18, and that's going to give me -15. All right, now I'm going to apply the inverse of multiplying by -5. So I'm going to divide both sides by -5. Okay, so I get x, and -15 divided by -5 is +3. Okay, and since I divided both sides by a negative, I have to reverse the symbol. So it becomes less than or equal to. Okay, I'm going to check my answer. Okay, and what I'm going to say here is I could use 3 to check. However, if I use 3, what it won't do is tell me whether or not the symbol is correct. because if I had forgotten to flip the symbol, it still would have included or equal to, okay? So that's not actually going to help. So I'm going to choose a different value. Let's say 2, okay, because 2 is less than -3, or sorry, less than 3. So if I use 2, I have -5 times 2 plus 18 is greater than, can't write, 3. So that's -10 plus 18 is greater than or equal to 3. -10 plus 18 is 8, and 8 is greater than or equal to 3. Okay, so my solution on number 2 is x is less than or equal to 3. When I graph it, I'll put a closed circle on +3. And since it's less, I'm going to shade to the left. Okay, number 3. All right, again, I get rid of what's farthest from the variable. In this case, that's 4. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. That gives me a divided by -2. And over here, -2 minus 4 is the same as -2 plus -4. So it's -6. Okay, so a divided by -2 is greater than -6. Now I'm going to multiply both sides by -2. All right, that gives me a. And over here, -6 times -2 is a +12. Since I multiply both sides by a negative value, I reverse the symbol, so it becomes a is less than 12. All right, to check my answer, a number less than 12 is 0. So I'm going to use 0. 0 divided by -2 plus 4 is greater than -2. I don't have a lot of space here, but I know that that would be 0. Plus 4 is 4, and 4 is greater than -2. Okay, so my solution on 3 is a is less than 12. Okay, so and it actually does not go that far out. Okay, so I'm going to put an open circle in 12, and since it's less, shade to the left. I think there's going to be another one on here too where we have to extend the number line. I meant to fix that, but I was in a rush to get all this together for you guys before we left, so sorry about that. So the number line doesn't go that far out, just no biggie, just fix it. All right, number 4. First thing we're going to do is, again, look for what's farthest from their variable. Okay, in this case, the 2 is farthest, so I'm going to add 2 on both sides of the equation. That gives me b divided by 4.5 is less than, and over here I have 4. All right, now I'm going to multiply both sides by 4.5. And that gives me b, and 4 times 4.5 is going to be 18. I don't reverse the symbol because I didn't multiply or divide both sides by any negative number. So I have b is less than 18. I'm going to choose a value to substitute in to check my answer. Again, I'm just going to use 0. It's easy to use. So if I use 0, because 0 is less than 18, plug it into my original inequality. 0 divided by 4.5 minus 2 is less than 2. Well, 0 divided by 4.5 is 0. 0 minus 2 is -2, and -2 is less than -2. Okay. So my solution on 4 is b is less than 18. Okay, so this one, let's see, you have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay. So open circle on 18, shade to the left. Just a coincidence that these are all less than so far. Okay, number 5. Now every year I know on this one, people always ask, well, do I need to apply the distributive property first? Guys, it doesn't matter. You can do that. You'll get the same answer either way. In fact, I think we'll look at it both ways. So what I would do first, again, you get rid of what is farthest from the variable. Okay, well, the 3 is inside the parentheses with the variable. So the farthest value is the -9. Since that indicates multiplication, we're going to divide both sides by -9. Okay, that gives me x plus 3. And since I divided both sides by a negative, I have to reverse that symbol. So it's going to become less than. Now -27 divided by -9 is +3. Now I'm going to subtract 3 on both sides, and that leaves x is less than 0. Okay, we'll check our answer. Okay, a number less than 0, let's go with, let's say -1. Okay, So if I have -1, when I check my answer, all right, I'm going to do parentheses first. -1 plus 3 is 2 times -9. That would be -18. And -18 is greater than -27. Okay, so x is less than 0. All right, when I graph that, I'm going to put an open circle on 0 and then shade to the left. Okay, now I said I'm going to look at that both ways. So let's say instead that you decided to apply your distributive property first. Let me show you what that would look like. So let's see. We had -9 times x plus 3 is greater than -27. So what you could have done is you could have done it where you actually simplified the side first. It actually gives you an extra step, but some people prefer to do that, so that's fine. So what that would mean is you're applying your distributive property, -9x plus, and then -9 times 3 is -27. So basically, if you apply that distributive property first, you're just rewriting the inequality as this here, okay? This is the same as this, okay? Now I would apply my inverse of adding -27 would be to subtract -27. I know subtracting a -27 is the same as adding a +27. So another way to look at that is that basically is a 0 pair right there, okay? So that gives me -9x is greater than, and -27 plus 27 is 0. Then divide both sides by -9, and I get x. And then, of course, this is going to be 0. I divided both sides by a negative, so reverse the symbol. So I still get x is less than 0. So either way, you get the same answer. All right, let's take a look at number 6. Okay, and okay, on problem number 6, let's see here. Okay. Same thing. I could apply my distributed property first or get rid of what's outside of the parentheses first. That's what I'm going to do because it's one less step. All right, so the value farthest from the C is the 1/2. Okay, so since that's being multiplied by 1/2, okay, basically we'll divide both sides by 1/2. So divide by 1/2, divide by 1/2. On this side of the equation, I have C plus 70 left over. Okay, I don't need to change my symbol, so it's going to stay the same. And 40 divided by 1/2, please don't say 20, okay? Remember what that's saying is how many halves fit inside of 40, okay? So that would be 80, all right? And the algorithm, just as a reminder, if we have 40 divided by 1/2, okay, you keep that first value and then multiply by the reciprocal, which is 80 over 1 or 80, okay? All right, now I'm going to subtract 70 from both sides, and that gives me 10 is less than or equal to C. All right, now be careful when you go to graph this. All right, in fact, I don't know if you guys remember doing the 4 square activity we did with our inequalities, and when I started reversing them and putting the variables on the right, it threw some of you guys off. So when I graph this, first of all, we know since it's or equal to, we know that we're going to have a closed circle on 10. So for number 6, closed circle on 10. And think about which way you're going to shade on the graph. Your value, your answer, is saying, which is C, is greater than 10. So we're going to shade in this direction. This answer right here is the same as writing it this way. Okay, either way, it's open to the C, so the C is greater than or equal to 10. All right, guys, so again, hopefully that helped you out. If not, as always, just send me an email or pop into one of the Zoom sessions. Remember, my Zoom sessions are every Monday, no, just kidding. Tuesday, I don't know why I can't get it right. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 11 to 12. The people who do, I actually have several people who come like almost every day. And they come in actually to play games. So if you don't have any math questions, feel free to come and join us in those. But if you have questions, don't struggle with it. Let me know so I can help you guys out. All right, miss you guys and hope you're doing well, and I'll talk to you later.